Okay, bear with me. I think this is live. This might be a little bit better than before. I'm sure so. Hope we're not in portrait this time. Just click on live and see if I can actually view it live. Okay, please. Please be working this time. Hurrah! That's what I want to see. Right. Okay, I'm just going to go live now. It's currently unlisted, so let's make that public. Publish. I'm going to share the link, which we're going to share over on the Discord channel. Check that over there. Adjust this slightly. I'm always a little bit disorganised, so I'll just go over it all again because nobody saw that last part of the video. So here we are. What I've got. It's an empty box because I don't have my new Absolute just yet. But I wanted to have this video today because a number of people do have their Absolute today, and that's great news. So here's my one. This is a DVT2 unit. As you can see, it's got the 5 grill on the bottom of this one, so you can tell it's not a new one. It doesn't have the rubberized finish. So why am I doing it live on YouTube today? Well, the reason I'm doing it live on YouTube today is because the Discord channel's been getting some remodeling work done, and the invite section for creating broadcasts doesn't appear to be working right now. It's certainly not working for me. And I didn't really want to fart about for another day and see about getting myself set up on that again. So I thought I'd just go live on YouTube. Now, if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see I don't go live very often, so this is a rare occasion. And I've still called the channel title Discord Recap, but we're live here, so I'll not be doing any editing today. So, great to see people are now receiving the handhelds around the world. My unit is still currently bouncing around Hong Kong, so hopefully it'll ship. Well, I'm really hoping it'll ship tomorrow, to be honest, but we'll see. I think it's going to a final centre for sending it out, so hopefully it's on a plane by tomorrow and I'll see it before the end of the week, which would be fantastic because then I can set this one up and pass on to my son. So, seen some good stuff popping up online. People are posting pictures. They're also commenting about things like the LED colours here change when you're charging. And I thought I'd covered that previously, but so if you hadn't noticed that, that is a feature. When you plug it in, if your battery's less than 100%, it will go red, and when it's fully charged, it'll light up white. Now they slowly pulse red on and off, and when they're fully charged, they go white. In fact, if you leave it long enough, they'll just turn off again. So that's a feature. There was supposed to be a feature where these would actually tell you your signal strength on your Wi-Fi to your home network. So it was meant to be, I think it was green, yellow and red, depending on the signal strength, but that doesn't appear to have been implemented yet in the current version of the firmware. So one thing I wanted to go over that was covered a while back was that with the new devices shipping out, new firmware being made available, there was also an update for the controllers, and that any people that would receive the newest units, they shouldn't have to update the controllers. They should already be done. But anybody with a DVT2 unit might have to do this. So I'm going to just go over it now because I had a problem with this. It took me about a week to resolve it, and then I just lucked into fixing it myself. So you need to install the Keylinker app. Now you can run this on your mobile phone or you can run it directly on the Absolute. So I am going to rotate just now. So this app here, let's just imagine I've not done this, but if I click on this and come out, there's nothing there. So I was clicking on the 3 dots at the top right here, and I was going to BT Connect, Bluetooth Connect, and you could find them. So if I say see all, it'll go away, it'll scan for a ton of devices, and it'll come back with the Keylinker software. But it would never show up on this detected devices. So I'll go into this again. It'll just come out so it disappears. It will eventually turn up itself, but it wasn't turning up. And what I found is if I just scroll down and get to refresh, that refreshed it and got it to life. And from there you can click at the Keylinker and it'll come to life. Then you click on the cog up here, and you can do things like change the orientation of your keys, so you can change your A and B button round so it matches Nintendo if you wish. Not sure why you'd want to do that in this software. You'd probably do that in any emulation software using, but it's there. More importantly, you can go into the joystick settings and you can change the size of the dead spot in the middle. It's a little bit off just now. I wonder where that is. And you can make your no dead zone, so you have like a huge area. You can also change your trigger sensitivity. So they were set to, I think it was medium originally. So I set them down to 0. So that was something that was mentioned a long time ago. People were asking how much travel there was before it started to register. So, and it used to be about, against focus, used to be about that much. So you were looking at maybe 2mm travel before anything registered. Now, as soon as I touch this trigger, so if I just pull this down the tiniest little smidge, tiniest little edge, you'll be able to see the left trigger's moving. See that? So you can actually make it much more linear for games like Forza. So that's good. Keylinker software is working well. You can turn on turbo buttons and things like that, and that's about it really. But it's pretty good. Now there was an option in here somewhere as well where you could tweak the how the joysticks reacted, and I don't see that here. It's just this more stripped down version, so I'm not really sure what we can do here. Okay, we'll just leave this as it was. But Keylinker's there if anybody wants to use it. So, come in that just now. And I'm just going to leave that installed, to be honest. So, what will I do now? I'll do what I usually do. Let's have a look at the my internet speed. If I can find my internet speed test software, there we go. Let's have this a run. So as usual, I'm sitting in my shed. It's running quite well just now, actually. So I'm getting about 65-ish megabits per second. So that's going to be great for streaming from my PC, which is in the house. Again, as usual, the PC I use is a Minis Forum, Mini PC 74. In fact, that's running pretty well. So it's a Minis Forum PC, and a lot of people are looking at different front ends to run on their Absolute. To be honest, I quite like the stock front end. I know some people don't; they prefer to just go to stock Android, but I think this looks pretty good. So you can add other apps, and you can add Netflix now, for example, and you can install Netflix games. So we'll just quickly fire up Netflix. I'll do that off screen just in case it asks me for my password. Okay, and here's loading Netflix. And we've got a few viewers. Hello, everyone. Feel free to send a message or top chat if you want. If I see it, I'll reply. So there you go. I think originally when I set this up, I was able to set it up rotated. Although I quite like this layout because it gives you a bit more screen estate for scrolling through your stuff. Now you can get games now, so if you click on games, it'll load up the game interface. Well, that's that specific game, sorry. Click on apps. Nope, that was wrong. That's gone into the Google App Store. Give me a second. There we go. So if I click on games here, oh yeah, that was the same window. You can scroll and you've got all the free, if you have a Netflix account, apps that you can add in here. So there's a few good games in here. Some of them are controller enabled, so they'll work fine. Some of them aren't. And there's no third-party tool that's been included with Absolute yet. I've certainly not seen any of the new people who've just received their units commenting that they can now run this Keylinker software, or key mapping software. Great when that arrives, but it's not here yet, as far as I know. And there was a number of people were asking about the bundled apps. So there's not really much installed, but there was where is it? the Absolute Essentials, sorry. The Absolute Essentials app was a number of apps that Absolute have bundled as, good companion things to play. or to use, sorry. And if they've got the little square with the down arrow in them, that means you can download them. So I've not installed all these things. GeForce I've not installed. Boosteroid I've not installed. And Shadow PC, because I don't use them. These are apps that they recommend. You can click on this and it'll take you to Google Play to download them. You don't get these apps for free. So originally in here they had XBX Play and the other PSP Play or PS whatever it was called. I'll go back and find out actually, because I've got it in here, this one. PS Play with no gaps and XBX Play. You have to buy those apps separately from the App Store. And they're based on the same underlying app, I believe. They're about £3-4 each. So that's probably about, just under $5 each. I know some people will be annoyed that they have to pay for these apps. You can use the free and included Sony and Microsoft bundled apps, and they're okay. They have their limitations though. So I've only got a PS4, I don't have a PS5, but with the PS4, you can only stream at 720p. I think maybe on the Pro you can do 1080p with the stock Sony app, but 720p, that's your lot. Same goes for the Xbox One. You can only stream at 720p. But if you download XBX Play or this PS Play, you can change that setting and make it 1080p if you wish, and it just works. So that's what I use. I've also found that there's maybe not so much less latency, but certainly less corruption happens on screen. So they're worth buying. If you're going to just use Moonlight and stream from a PC, then don't buy them. That's fine. So I will admit I don't use those two apps as much as I use Moonlight, and Moonlight's free. So Moonlight on this and on my Mini 4 on PC, which is AMD powered, I am using Sunshine, which is basically a version tweaked to work with AMD graphics. So we'll go in there just now, I think. We'll just fire it up. And we'll maybe have to scroll up on the Discord channel, because I can't actually remember all the stuff I said to people. Give me some recommendations on what you'd like me to cover in a Discord stream, and there's been so many changes on the channel recently, I've kind of lost track of everything that was popping up. So one of the things I was going to cover was what I felt was my favourite game of the summer so far. And that game, surprise, surprise, is Dave the Diver. So I know it's probably been done to death. So many people are playing this game right now. So many people have played it and probably completed it. I'm only on chapter 4, but it's brilliant. So far, I've played 24 hours and 20 minutes. That's pretty mad for me, it has to be said, to put time into a game. I don't always have a lot of spare time, and it's a very good game for just putting 5 minutes in here. I mean, you could do like a dive and you're done in 5-10 minutes. And just because of the way the game works, you can pick it up, you can put it down, and there is some sections where you're kind of forced to complete a scenario, and that can sometimes drag out to 10-15 minutes, but it's still not too long. So I've found myself playing this game a lot more than I'll play games like Spider-Man, for example, which I've been trying to work my way through as well. So I can run it absolute max settings, although I don't think there is actually really any settings. You just run it at what resolution you want. And this game just looks brilliant. Just looks brilliant. So what else can I find? I think there was some people asking for recommendations of games you could play together. Now, I don't have my Absolute yet, and I'll definitely test that when I do. The only problem I've got is I didn't have 2 copies of those games. Now, my son game shares my account, so I think there is only about 1 or 2 games that I've purchased for him that I've got, and I want to play them at the same time he's on, and maybe not necessarily play together. I know there's the play together option in Steam. It works at times, so we'll see if that works. If it does, that'd be fantastic, because he has a PC that he gets the game on. Although there's a more powerful PC in the house he could game on, but he games on this older one that he quite likes going to, so that's his choice. But when I was on holiday last week, he was on this way more than I was. So I did something a little bit different this year, and rather than taking, I'm sorry, I'm reading stuff on the screen there. Rather than taking the Steam Deck, which I normally would, I brought the Absolute, and I brought, I know, someone's asked a question, How's the D-pad for... it's behind the like button. I can't actually see all the message, but they're basically asking for Street Fighter 2 or a platformer. The D-pad's fantastic. This is a DVT2 unit, so all the issues with the original D-pad were resolved for this unit. I believe the production one, I don't think they've tweaked it anymore. It was already so good. Even I can do things like Hadoukens, and I'm terrible at that. So I've had no problems with the D-pad. In fact, I prefer to use the D-pad in some games, so like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is a great game. You can play that natively on here from Android and it'll run really well. I've been playing that with the D-pad, just because of preference. So yep, D-pad's brilliant. All the buttons, I would say there's nothing that I've got any issues with. The only issue I did have was with this stick, and that was in some games it would just kind of, it wasn't locking up, it was still working, but it would kind of panic and you would be like stuck going left or stuck going right in software, and there was no real rhyme or reason to it. Now I flagged this up to Absolute at the time. I think a couple of people had mentioned that they'd seen it, but not as frequently as I had. So I don't know what they did, but the Keylinker update, my son was playing this last week before I did the Keylinker update, and he noticed that while he was swimming in this game underwater. He got stuck in a corner and he couldn't move. And I said to him, if you just go around circles with a stick, trying to change your direction, it'll work eventually. And he's like, well, that's not very good. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but hopefully it's getting fixed. And then that same evening, I then had a look at the Keylinker software again, and I worked out what I was doing wrong, updated it, and he tried it the next night, and he had no issues with it. So last week he probably put in about, he didn't put a lot of hours in, but maybe about 4 hours on this, which isn't bad really. We were busy all during the day, so this was only evening time. And I was using the INEO Air Plus, so I really went budget on the holiday when it came to technology. And to be honest, if he hadn't wanted to play anything, I would have been on this, because he had the choice. Do you want to go on this and stream from home, and the connection might not be great, or do you want to use the mini PC that I've brought and game on that? And when you looked at the screen on both, they thought, well, that's got a bigger screen, and it has 7 inches versus 6 inches, but this will also run in 1080p, and to run Dave the Diver at any kind of reasonable frame rate without killing the battery, you have to run at 720p on the INEO. So he just straight away gravitated towards this, and even with the issue initially with the stick, he didn't mind. So here's someone said, running a PS Vita still, I'm looking to upgrade here soon. What games can run on this device? Not that many. You'll probably find the PS Vita, well, you can't run PlayStation Vita games on this. The Vita is a brilliant handheld, and it's much more pocketable than most handhelds in the market, but this is pretty close. So it's quite a bit bigger in this dimension, the size-wise, but it is almost as thin. Certainly it's maybe slightly thinner than the OLED version. And this end anyway, it's a little bit wider up here because you've got the lip. But what I would say is I've not picked my Vita up for weeks. Since I got this DVT2 unit, I've just been using this. Games-wise though, you'll play DS games no problem. If you're emulating, you will play some N64. PSP games will run on this no problem. I would use Lemuroid for that rather than any other emulation, because when I was testing it myself some months back, and there is a video up on the channel somewhere where I test Lemuroid, and I thought it was brilliant, so that was recommended to me by someone on the Discord channel. Can't remember who it was. I'm sure they'll pop up and leave a comment. So it's okay, you can do emulation on this. It can play some native stuff, like I say, Shredder's Revenge will run really well on this. Things like Genshin Impact will run on this, but there's no keyboard or no screen controls. Can't map, so you have to use the screen, and it's pretty poor frame rate, so you're actually better streaming. But I've tested this thing with Moonlight and streaming right down to really low quality settings. Some people seem to want to stream at 50 megabits. I run at 20 megabits all the time. I never see any corruption, really sharp, runs really well. If I was on a mobile connection using 5G, I'd probably still leave it at 20 to be honest, but if I had a poor connection or a good 4G connection, you can drop this down to 5 and it still runs pretty well. I think I dropped it as low as 2 when I was remoting on my PS4 and my son was playing, and that was over a 4G connection. It was a bit of a weak 4G connection, and although there was a little bit of screen corruption now and then, he was quite happy with the performance. So Choice is yours. I wouldn't say this is a device for emulating on. The Logitech G Cloud has got a bit more power, but I think the Logitech G Cloud's a bit. I quite like the colour. I like it's white, but the lemony accents, I'm not convinced by them myself. I mean, I would have a G Cloud, but I've got one of these now, so don't need one. This is a black unit, and it's all black, and everyone's got their own personal preference. Most of my handhelds are usually black. I like to have occasional white one just because I think, depending on the handheld, it makes them pop a little bit more. I think the iNeo Air Plus looks really good in the kind of 1990s. It's a sort of blue-grey, so that's what mine is. It's not the PlayStation 1 really grey, but it's nice. So, what I don't like about the black unit, it's just a personal criticism, is the fact the buttons, they still kind of blend in. Now, I know some people probably quite like that, but I like it, something like a little, something to stand out. So that's why I went for a white one. And then, originally, when I reserved the white one, people were absolutely were showing the occasional picture where they had two blue sticks, or panda purple sticks they were. It was sort of a panda unit, but with purpley blue sticks, and I thought it looked fantastic. But they dropped that as an option. But now what they're doing is they're including the left stick is in blue, and I'm guessing that's blue to balance out the default blue of the ABXY buttons. And I know some people don't like that, but I actually think it's just something different. It stands out. The unit itself it's not too fussy. It's quite plain. And that's great, because you don't want anything that's too fussy and detracts. I mean, look at the back of the ROG Ally. It's just a splattering of over the top in my view anyway, RGB and strange, chameleon effect graphics and slashy lines for vents. This thing's only got two sets of holes in it, and they're here and here, and that's for the sound to come out. I would take this down to the beach, because I wouldn't be worried about sucking sand in or getting damaged in another way. So, what was I going to cover next? Nobody's posted any questions, so that's great. I'll just blabber on. I was going to just play this game for a little while. In fact, I think I will just do it for a minute, just to show how responsive this is. I might turn the volume down a little smidge. The only thing I can't get used to is there's just nothing at this side of the unit. The volume and the power are both at the same side, and most of my handhelds, there's usually power at one side and volume at the other. And oh, I crashed the game. That's a good one, eh? That's not the Absolute that's giving that issue. That's Dave the Diver. So on my iNeo Air Plus, it's the on-off button and fingerprint sensors on one side, and then the volume controls are right next to that. So it's like the mirror opposite of this. So it's just something. If you've got more than one handheld, and I know a lot of people won't, just something to watch out for. And what I will say though is I've got no interest in any other handhelds on the market this year. So for a channel that's called Handheld Gaming, I don't think there's anything on the market that I want. Now, from my perspective, I don't usually buy the most expensive thing on the market. One, because I find it hard to justify a big expense like that, especially if it's just for playing some games on. The iNeo Air Plus was £212 in the UK, and that felt like a great price to me. This was, what was it, $199 when it came out? I think it was $189 for the 32 gig model, $199 for the 64 gig storage model, and that's what I have come in. So that would have worked out £160. So I see that as a real bargain. Now, it's not a PC. It literally is a streaming device. That's all it's really designed to do. And that's why it doesn't have a powerful processor in it. And that's why it has such a good battery life. Where Absolute have really pulled out the rabbit out the hat for me is they've put such a lovely screen in it. Now, I'm not sure the stream does it justice. It really is a beautiful 1080p panel. Of all the devices I've got, it absolutely craps all over the Steam Deck display, which is 800p, and it's really washed out. And it's funny because I didn't actually think it was that washed out when I received it, even though I got mine like a year later. In fact, hold on there, pause for a second, another message popping up. Did you see the recent announcement Lenovo Legion Go? Looks to be an 8-inch compared to the Asus ROG Ally. Oh, I haven't seen that. Now you're going to get me looking at that. I might have seen stuff about the Legion. Yeah, I'll probably look into that. But these handhelds are now getting so powerful that they need to be like an inch thick and have a massive set of fans on them, and huge cooling in them. And the Neo Air Plus is a 6-inch device. It's quite a bit smaller than this. In fact, just bear with me. I'm going to grab it because it's just over here. Oh, properly impromptu. So as you can see here, now it's, if I just move this down, it's about an inch less wide, and in height it is probably about the same. But in thickness, it's an absolute beast. Look at it. That's about 3 times thicker than this. And a lot of that, when I opened it up, is down to the fan and the cooling. Now, this has got quite a small battery in it. It's about the same size as a mobile phone, and I think it's a 55 milliamp hour battery. I think this has got a considerably bigger battery in it. In fact, it's almost as thick as the case inside. I've opened this up and put a bigger drive inside it. So, yes, a real chungus. And I have to say, this is light as a feather. It's just the right sort of weight for long sessions. This, well, depending on what you're playing it, you can maybe get 3 hours out of it, but you're going to have tired hands at the end of those 3 hours because it's pretty weighty. So, back to this. Sorry, I'm just looking at the screen again there to see if anybody's posted any more messages. So this, what I like about this is it's got a really good screen. I actually don't mind the small sticks. Now, I know a big competitor for this that's going to hit the market pretty soon is the Sony handheld that they're bringing out to remote play PS5. I think it'll sell pretty well. And the only reason I think it'll sell pretty well is, well, one, it's a Sony product, and a lot of people that have a PS5 will rush out and buy one. I can't blame them. They'll quote the bigger sticks make it superior. Guarantee it. Without a doubt, they'll claim the bigger sticks make it superior. Now, that might be true. That might be true. So I was reading the screen again over there. That might be true of maybe some games like, shooters. First-person shooter games. You need that kind of control. And I don't play a lot of them, to be honest. I do racing car games, and I do silly games like this. Yeah, I see somebody saying if Sony managed to hit the $250 price point, they'll pick one up. They might in sales, but I have a suspicion that it'll be about $300 just because it's Sony. They can pretty much charge what they want. Look at the Vita when it first released. So that was what I think I paid something like about. Well, I didn't because I got a really good deal, but I think when it first hit the market, it was about £280 in the UK for the 3G model. That was one with the 3G chip in it, the OLED. So I picked one of them day one. Now I got a good deal because I was able to trade a PSP in, and I had some vouchers at the time, so I cashed in all those. So I paid a bit less than that, but the RRP at the time was something like, I think it was like £269 maybe, actually, that's ringing a bell. Or was that for the Wi-Fi one, and the 3G one was about £30 more? Something like that. Anyway, that was like 11 years ago, wasn't it? About 11 years ago? I think so. So I honestly think Sony will charge as much as they think they can get away with. And I think it'll be a nice device. It's got a good screen. I'll have just as good a screen as this, if not better. Sony make their own panels, don't they? So they do what they like. But this, honestly, I think anybody that buys this is going to be happy. I think I've gone on about that enough. Let's dive in the water while we're at it, while I think about a few other things to talk about. Of course, I could quite easily get distracted just swimming around in this game. Because although I say it's a good game to pick up and play for 5 minutes, you can just as easily pick it up and play for an hour without thinking, let's crash the game. I'm going to have to view the integrity of the game. I've played it too much, I've worn it out. So what we'll do here, this is a good test for it. So one of these buttons, I have maps, that one. There, so I use Play Night as my front end, just in case anybody's wondering. And I've mapped this button to go between full screen and windowed. So in full screen, you can just use the D-pad, move around, and it's a very console-like experience. And if I push this button, it quits out and loads back up in windowed mode. And then I can use an on-screen mouse to minimise. Now, you can set play night up. Play night? No, Moonlight. You can set Moonlight up so that it's touch screen or virtual mouse like this. We're using a virtual touchpad. I tried it with touchscreen and I didn't find it was as precise as I liked it like this. I mean, this takes a little bit longer, but you can get right into things, and I think you can do a 2-finger tap to right click on things, and obviously 3-finger tap on Moonlight brings up the keyboard, which is really handy, although it's like a limited keyboard, so you can't get certain keys up like the Windows key. But you could use Power Tools, Microsoft Power Tools, to map a button that you don't use very often, like the Euro sign or whatever, map that to bring up the Windows button. So, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into Steam, which is, I like to leave a few icons on the desktop. I'm old school like that. Let's go to my library. Oh, it was already in. I was looking to see if I'd turn up Boy, but I don't. I was going to test that game because I was sure I had it, and then I realised I didn't. It's on Xbox only, so. Right, so again, we'll just, there you go, so you can get Dave the Diver up nice and quick. And we will just go in and we will tell it to, there's one mouse there, verify the files. That's just good. So I have done that. Oh, it's so long since I've done this. How do you verify your files? There we go. Obviously, this will be quite quick because I'm running it on a relatively powerful PC in the house. And what I found is it really works well. In fact, I'm not about taken aback here. I've just looked at the screen and at one point there were 11 concurrent viewers. Wow. Thanks for joining, everyone. That blows my mind. So, the PC I use, like I say, it's a Minis Forum PC, so it's one of these little compact machines from Minis Forum. It's the Neptune series, the HX80G, which is their cheapest one. I bought bare bones, and that comes with a Ryzen 5800H, if memory serves correct, and a RX 6600 mobile GPU, so it's got a dedicated GPU in it, and that's an 8 gig onboard GPU, and because it was bare bones, I put my own SSD in, so I had a 2TB SSD, which had been in my 1X player, but I took it out when that got sent back for repair, so I reused that, and I bought 16 gig off Corsair DDR4, 2 SODIMMs, cheapest I could get, to be honest, with the best kind of latency, CL latency on them, and fastest speed, I think they're 3200 megahertz. But okay, and that little machine has only been switched off once since I received it about, I'm going to say 6 weeks ago. And that was just because I was testing it to see how much power it drew when it was in low power mode, when I'm not basically using it. So when I connect in, I just start using it. So, and it runs like a dream. So it's basically just like I've created my own Wii U. I've got a little box with the doing all the processing, and it's connected straight into my router on a 500 megabit connection. And then this is the screen, and it just works. I've really not had to do much configuring at all. Normally, when I've got a handheld like the Air Plus, for example, I've spent weeks. I've only had it a couple of weeks, but every single day that I go on it, I'm doing some sort of tweaking. I had to pop it open to put an NVMe drive in it because I only had a 128 gig in it to start with. That's because it was a budget model. And I put a micro SD in it, and that was just filled in no time. This, on the other hand, and I did see some people asking if they could upgrade the NVMe in this, or if they could upgrade the memory or the processor. No to none of those things. It is what it is. It's basically just a mobile phone with controls in it and a really nicely made shell. The interface is nice, but it's nothing, super out of the ordinary. Let's go back and just start playing this game again. I'm desperate to get a quick game. So, you can't put an NVMe in it because it's got a little bit of built-in memory storage. 32 gig or 64. If you've bought the 32 gig to save a few pounds, I think you'll be fine with it. You can actually put a micro SD card in it, and I would recommend not getting one too big because you're just wasting the space, to be honest. This is a 256 that's in mine, and I'm only using about 60 gig of that, and that gets pretty much every Game Boy Advanced game that you're going to be playing on it, to be honest. Right up to DS DS, was it playing DS games? I can't remember. Game Boy Advance, so I played some Game Boy Advance games on full screen, looked brilliant. My son was actually playing one of the Pokemon games, Pokemon Fire, I think it was, Fire Red, which he keeps going on about because it's quite a rare game, hard to get a hold of the cartridge. We certainly don't have it, so he played it on this and he was having a great time. And it scales really nicely to the 7-inch screen. I tried a couple of games like Metroid that I played on my Game Boy Micro, which is quite a tiny screen. It's like 2 inches or something, isn't it? And scaled up to 7 inches, looked fantastic. So if you don't mind pixel style, those types of 16-bit games, you'll love it. Plays those games really well. And you can also do filters and that to make it look more natural, more original. Knocking the stand here. So let's just see if I can get this game continuing, because I've not actually played anything yet. There was something else I was going to talk about on this. Yeah, so the micro SD, don't go too big, no much point. If you put a new micro SD in, you can mount it as internal storage, so to speak. And that will, hopefully it works this time, and that will just let you install games straight from Play Store, straight onto that card. I haven't done that. I've set mine up so I can eject the card and put it into another unit, so it doesn't let me install games on there. What I'll probably do, because I've put tons of emulation on it, I'll probably take that off, slap it in a PC, and then, it's working now, excellent. Slap it in a PC, and then copy off all the emulated titles I've got. I'll get another one of these micro SDs. In fact, I think I've got a 64 gig indoors. So when I set this up for my son, I'll put the 64 on it, I'll put in the games for emulation on, probably some PSP games and stuff, and then pass it on to him, and take this card out, format it, and let's get my mouse off the screen there out of the way, and I will mount it as an internal storage device. But I have ordered a 64 gig, to be honest, so for myself. I mean, honestly, just felt like I was supporting Absolute, because it's been a lovely, oh my goodness, been a lovely little handheld. And like I say, I've put so much time into it. I just pick it up and I can just play. It's great. I've not played PC games so much in ages, because, like I say, you're normally configuring and fixing stuff, to make it work on your platform of choice. And it just works. Everything just works. It's great. I want to concentrate now because I don't want this guy taking me out. Yay. So, I know SquarePeg's commenting saying it also runs Android. Oh yeah, that's the new Sony device. Yeah, it's basically one of these, isn't it? It's nothing really new about it. It's just something like this with some controls. Bigger controls, but it's probably going to be very, very similar. So I suppose it's down to how you prefer the ergonomics. And the only thing that I can see is bad about the Sony handheld, other than the fact that it's a little bit odd looking, is that they're advertising it as for PS5 only, which kind of, in my book, makes it like an e-waste peripheral almost. If you have a PS5, or you'll only use it with a PS5, what's going to happen a generation later when, oh god, a shark. I've not got any bullets there. So what you're going to do when you get rid of your PS5, you're just going to have this controller that you're not going to be like, oh bloody hell, he's still after me. You're not going to be able to use. Jesus wept. He's going to go home now. Oh no, he's not. I'm going to go take that shark out, because shark is lovely for sushi. There was something else I was going to talk about this device. I've completely lost my train of thought, because now I'm playing a game. And I'm an old guy and I can't remember half the stuff I was going to talk about. Maybe I should have scripted it. Never mind. Oh god. Ah! Here we go. Catch me if you can. Oh! It's gone back that way. Yeah, what else can I say about this device? I can definitely confirm it's got, easily close to a 10-hour battery life. Depending on how you play it. In my case, I generally run it about half brightness. And I generally run it about 50% to about 70% brightness. And sound-wise, it's got nice speakers, I have to admit. I don't generally play them too loud, so I don't feel it needs it. So, oh god. Oh look, I pushed the wrong button, so I got absolutely annihilated there. I'll tell you the one thing I feel, I mentioned this a while ago. Oh, what? Finally got him. ABXY, brilliant. But you know what I would really like? If it also had the triangle, square, X and O set up, and I saw somebody mocked up a little sticker that you could just pop in there and it would just remind you what the buttons were. That would be brilliant. That would really do it for me. So if anybody produces those buttons, or those stickers, sorry, for that button mapping, let me know. And yeah, let me know, and I'm going to buy one. So next question there was, how viable playing Vampire Survivors is in this little device? Well, I can tell you now, before I started playing Dave the Diver, I was still very much into playing Vampire Survivors. It looks great. So, Vampire Survivors I've played a lot over the last year. It's a great for mobile devices, frankly. I've tried it on my 1X Player 4800U, which is an 8.4-inch screen, and I played it a lot on that. So, concentrate again. So I played that on my 8.4-inch screen, but it's a game that can make even the hardest, or the most powerful of hardware chug. And it certainly made the 4800U chug. So, played it on the Steam Deck again, that would chug as well. And I don't have that issue when I play it on my PC, obviously, because it's quite powerful. So, running on the PC. Oh crap. Fang tooth coming from there. Oh, I didn't know. Got him now though. So it runs really well on this 7-inch screen. Controls work great. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll fire it up in a moment. Why not? Let me just finish this little fishing session. Bear with me. It might be 5 minutes. I'll try to take. There's another shark there. I'm going to gut that, and then I'm going to quit out. I'll go back to surface and I'll save. Right, where is it? It's up here somewhere. Got some bullets now, so I can take them on. Oh, bloody little. Oh, why did I do that? Went to peel on this. Yeah, so if you're looking for a game to buy that runs well on it, oh god, that runs well on this little screen. It looks good. Everything's legible, easy to see. Oh, what? Much easier to take than that guy. Yeah, it's about £16, so under $20. Great game, this. Great fun. Right, let's just get to the surface and we'll try a little bit of Vampire Survivors, because this isn't just about me playing a wee game for a wee while, is it? It's about me showing people new stuff. And as you can see, it's working pretty well. I see the concurrent viewers has trailed off a little bit because I think I'm rambling a bit now, but what do you feel doesn't work well with these types of devices? Obviously competitive shooters. Yeah, I think competitive shooters would be probably not the best. I mean, I've played a bit of Doom on it. You know, you can play GTA, but then that's it's got auto targeting. Certainly on if I remote play my Xbox. Yeah, I would say first person shooters, you've probably not got that range of control that you would normally want, so yeah, I probably wouldn't try that, but most other things work pretty well. I've not really found anything that's just, God, was that long? I've not found anything that was really terrible, so what am I doing here? Haha, now you see what I've done here? I've loaded it up straight from the, there we go, wrong button. Thought I'd done something there. Right, let's just save this and return to the title menu, and we'll quit out and we'll fire up a little bit of Vampire Survivors just so you can see what it's like. What wouldn't work well? Well, like I've said already, it's not really designed for emulating. A lot of people seem to be really hung up about that. They're like, well, what if I've not got a connection? What can I play then? Well, there is stuff you could play, but you're not going to play as much stuff as you were expecting. Like I say though, because you can emulate quite a lot of old platforms and you can run quite a lot of Android games on it, you'll probably find something to keep you going. Right, Vampire Survivors, look, there it is there. Let's fire that up. So again, I've got that set up. I'll show you in a moment, but it's really just one of these games where it's like, these are your settings and that's your lot. You can turn off some of the nice effects where you get all the explosions, but I like to have all that on. I like to really test my hardware, so. Is this full screen? Right? Yeah, that is. Only thing I found with Vampire Survivors, and it does this on pretty much every handheld, is if you come out of Vampire Survivors and go back to your desktop and then go back into the game, you often get like a green bar down one side. So we'll just try and stay in it. And it also doesn't quite fill a screen. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that. But in options, we have got, just ticked everything on. Oops. So damage numbers are turned on. Turn off the visible joysticks because nobody needs to see that. We'll just do a quick little game on this. I've not played this for a while, so this will be good. Oh, I've got another guy. Let's try this chap out. We'll do... I like the inlaid library, let's just do that. Okay. So, yeah, the only thing with this game is I can't get performance overlays to work. And I've seen lots of people have had this issue, so it's not really a fault of the game. Well, it's not really a fault of the PC, but it's a feature of the game, I should say. So you just have what you have. Oh my god, this is a bit interesting. He's leveling up quickly. But this runs well. Just stand still and take a bit of a hit, eh? Should help me out somewhat. Oh, my screen's now gone off, so I can't see the messages. Give me a second. Wake that back up. Yeah, so as you can see, looks good. Don't know how good the focus is because I'm using the app, the YouTube app on my mobile, so I don't know if the focus is going to work great, but it runs really well. Now I'm considerably aged, so I want a good quality screen. Now I'm running this at 1080p. 1080p screen, I run the game at 1080p, and this is beautifully legible for me. When I run it on, well, it runs on the Win 600 actually, and on that you run it at 720p, and it looks alright on that, to be honest. So, and that's only a 7-inch screen actually. So the smallest screen I've got is my iNeo Air Plus with its 6-inch screen, or my smallest screen modern handheld, should I say, and PC. I've got a GPD Win original model, and that's a 5.5-inch screen, maybe a 5-inch screen. But that's such a low power processor, I can't play anything these days. So, but as you can see, runs like a dream. Now I think I'm seeing the odd little hitch, but that's my PC that's causing that, not the absolute. So you're going to lose me to this now as well. I'll have like no concurrent viewers soon because it'll just be me playing a game. So if anyone's got any questions, just keep popping them up. I don't know if I've missed any there. I'm just kind of scrolling up. I am going to have to start looking at that Lenovo Legion Go. So is that... I know Lenovo were going to make this, basically. It was like, for all intents and purposes, very similar. and then chose not to at the last minute. I'll say very similar interface if nothing else. Maybe not entirely similar hardware inside, but probably not hugely different. I'm just so glad this little Absolute appeared and brought this device out, because it's actually transformed my gaming. It really has. Like I say, the amount of time I got to play games before was fairly restrictive. That's not really changed, but the amount of time I spend faffing about trying to get a game working has reduced considerably. And what I like about this is the buttons themselves. I'm just going to stop for a second, give it a shake. Listen here. Oh, that's the stand I just whacked in it. Nothing rattles. Not a thing. Not a thing rattles in this. Unlike most handhelds, they usually get a little bit of flex in the ABXY buttons, was a little bit of give. Now, I don't know about the final production version, because the original version, I think the buttons moved a little bit. The original DVT unit, the DVT2 unit that I've got now, they tweaked that a bit, and then we had a little issue with like buttons sticking. And they certainly eased off after a couple of days. And I think it was the B button, or the A button in my case, that was sticking now and then. But it stopped after about 2 or 3 days, probably about 10 hours worth of use. It obviously wore in, and I flagged that up at the time, but they were changing that for the final production one, I think. It's great that Absolute were just making all these little changes, just little tweaks here and there. They were just really improving the final quality of the product. You get so many products out there, but like this is an early model, and then what they actually release is just exactly the same product, and you're like, oh, it's got all the same flaws that the early models had. That's no good. And then they try and patch stuff out with software fixes. It's like, you know, that can only go so far. But it's because it's such a quiet device, nothing rattles. You can be quite quiet. Buttons are a little bit clicky. And the throttles are a little bit noisy when you move them. They're not when you're moving them gently. Just they bottom out quite well. They actually bottom out all the way, which if I can get myself a good angle, I can show you. Let me just move this box. Oh my goodness. I've just absolutely leaned on the volume button there. As you can hear, it gets pretty loud. Right, so, unlike my Aya Neo Air Plus, this bottoms pretty much, well, it doesn't actually bottom all the way, that's a good point, it nearly bottoms. The Aya Neo Air Plus actually, the edge clunks against the shell when you close it fully. This actually stops. But you can actuate it quite quietly. Depending on the game you were playing, if you had some earphones in or just had the volume turned down, you could play this in bed and not keep your partner awake. Or play it in a quiet environment, like say a library, and not be irritating anyone, other than the fact that you weren't reading a book or surfing the web, since that seems to be mostly what people do in libraries these days. Because obviously, no fan noise, passively cooled, and it doesn't get warm. That's another thing that nobody seems to talk about. It just doesn't get warm. So even the screen, I'm feeling across the screen here, tiny bit of warmth over this end here, but nothing like the Aya Neo that I'm using just now. It gets pretty warm. Now I'm using a fan profile on that that's like basically almost a silent one. Fan's barely turning, it only ramps up in a linear fashion when the unit gets really hot. Or when the CPU registers it's really hot. The shell itself gets pretty warm regardless. This thing just stays cool. It's just like, I don't know, I probably too glowing when it comes to reviewing this thing, because there's probably other devices that are just as good, but and I probably should say this is a DVT2 unit, so technically I was flagging a lot of my early videos as being sponsored, and that was because I'd been handed this device. I was asked to just review it honestly. I wasn't asked to do anything like, you know, give us a good review and you'll get your product earlier. Maybe I should have asked for that, because then I could have had my product already. Maybe next time, eh? But yeah, I'm not going to corrupt my my views that much. So yeah, like I say, I hope my Absolute's going to arrive soon. I did see some people on the Discord channel asking if I could be one of the first to get mine, and Absolute were like, "Oh yeah, they'll definitely be one of the first to get theirs." Well, I will be one of the first, but I'm not in the first batch. And it's bothering though. So, because I've got this one, and it's tidied me over just fine. The only thing that I kind of feel like I'm missing out is that I'm not one of the first to give an unboxing. But I can't be the first to do everything, so... And I really hope some of the people that have got their units today manage to find a little bit of spare time to do an unboxing. Because I think you're probably just going to be sitting playing on it all the time, aren't you? So... Has anybody on the channel actually received theirs yet? I see people posting, but... So, I see Igor there. Igor, you posted there saying Vampire Survivors is simple and very good. It absolutely is. I love this game. And it's a game that if you turn on the hyper speed and that, you can play through a sitting in, well, it says, would you get, was it up to 20 minutes or 30 minutes? I can't remember. That's embarrassing. But it's obviously double speed, so. But you never play only one game, do you? It's always just one more round. And here I am, just getting so addicted to the game again. If anyone else is watching has got any questions, feel free to drop a question in. Let's see. Oops. Oh, let's get that. What can I say now? I'll give myself a lot bit of self-promotion if anyone's interested. So the channel, there's obviously, if you've ever looked at channel monetization, there's the more recently there's the 500 members and the 2,000 watch hours to then create channel memberships, which I've done. I've got one member. I would name them just now if I could remember. That's kind of embarrassing. Give me 2 seconds, because I think they deserve a shout out at least once a week for actually sponsoring me, because they've taken a membership. So what I do is normally my videos I land on a day, maybe 2 days earlier, and then I let my my channel members get first view. Currently only got one channel member. We subscribed, or sorry, a full channel paid up member. That's Hyperplay RPG. Big shout out. Thanks for sponsoring the channel. So they also have access to the Discord channel. I've created a private Discord channel if anyone's interested in joining that. So you'll have a direct pipeline to me if you feel like that would be of value to you. Feel free to consider that. I've created 2 channel membership types. In fact, I'll tell you what those are since I'm here. So I've got my main one, which is my 16-bit member, and that's what the one that I would say would be the most popular. Now that one, let me just see. I can't even remember how much these cost. So I'll go find and I'll let everyone know. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Oh yeah, membership levels. So your 16-bit level is £2.99. So I think that's about, what, $3.50 or something. If you want to sponsor the channel, there's some perks. You get member shout-outs, like I've just said. You get dedicated access to get member-only polls. At some point, when I've worked out with all these things, these are recommendations that YouTube puts to you. My 8-bit level, I just introduced that. That one's only 99 pence. That one's like really cheap. That one basically gives you access to Discord channel, and you'll get early access to some videos. I also create some emojis. I've only done 2 so far, but I'll create more as time goes by. And I think that's all I can be bothered saying about that. If you want to support the channel, feel free to go that route. If you really want to support the channel, and I think that's a nice way of supporting me, and it kind of makes me feel quite valued that somebody's went out their way to actually throw some cash at me. But the other much easier way is, if you've not subscribed, just consider subscribing to the channel. I'm almost at the prerequisite 4,000 watch hours, and it looks like I'm going to get that and stay on that 4,000, because for every calendar year you drop, you're constantly dropping a day. So I think I'll be okay in that respect. Viewership or subscribers, I'm just about 620, I think. And obviously the target for that is 1,000. So the more people that join, the better. Once I hit that subscription level, I'll just stop talking about subscriptions. Hopefully, I'm expecting that a little bit of natural progression, people will just start to join. And then obviously from that, I can start badgering companies like, well, maybe not Absolute, because they've been really good to me so far. But other companies, badger them for test devices, Because I don't mind buying handhelds, but I'll only buy the ones that I know I'm going to use. And if anybody wants to get reviews or hear my views on any of these other devices, I'll need to go away and start canvassing companies. And to get a shot, a loan of a test unit would require me to probably be monetizing the channel. That's what I think anyway. So, enough about that. Doesn't actually interest me that much. I just quite enjoy creating little videos. I don't see it as a career of any kind. It's just, if I can bring a little bit of help to people now and then, brilliant. Oh, evolved that already. From my point of view, a lot of the videos I create are more an aid memoir for myself. So when I create a video with game settings, it's really just to keep myself right. If I delete a game and then go back to it, I want to be able to find out what settings I used last time when it worked well. Now, as I was saying, the Discord channel, I just recently created a spreadsheet in there with all the games I'm testing, the settings I'm using, the typical performance outputs I'm getting. So if you want to watch the videos as I create them, great. But I won't be publishing every single game I test as a video, because some of the games are probably a bit less popular for the algorithm in YouTube. But I will store all that stuff in the spreadsheet. Obviously, it's partly there for my benefit. So, okay, so Agent09 has said, what's the stats from a speed test site? So, I know the Wi-Fi setup is unique. Well, at the start of the video, I tested that. I could do that, absolutely. Can we just wait until I die? Is that all right? Is that a bit cheeky? What I will say is the internet connection. So my setup's a little bit unique. So I'm sitting out in a shed in the garden, basically, because this is where I feel I'm less likely to irritate family members who are either trying to sleep and I'm yapping away in the middle of the night, randomly downstairs. So my PC is inside, currently connected to the router. I'm a little bit too far away to get a Wi-Fi signal, so I'm using a mesh network, a TP-Link one at that. So the are directly as well, and then I create a bubble basically out to the shed where I'm currently sitting. So although I've got 500 megabits indoors, because I'm a bit stretched, I'm creating a 5 gigahertz connection out here. I get about anywhere between 50, 55 to about, well, 75 I was getting at the start there, so 75 megabits, but I will show it in just a moment. I think I'm going to, oh, look at this, I'm absolutely flying through now. I'm going to see the Reaper in a minute and then it'll destroy me. And then I'll save and quit and do a little bit of performance testing. If there's anything anybody else wants me to check online, I can certainly do that. It's not a problem. That's what I'm here for. Wow, how many evolved things have I got? Quite a few. That's fantastic. Quite like this character. It's good fun. Let's get permanent floor chickens to keep me alive for a while. Oh, maybe she's got bags of money. Although I have actually already got lots of money, so. Honestly, see, when this game's on sale, buy this one too. If you've not played this game, buy it. Definitely worth it. The Android version's okay. Plays really well, I have to say. But I think there's... you can't transfer your game save as such, so you can't. If you've played it on PC, you probably won't want to play it on Android. I downloaded the Android version and tested it, and it runs really well. It uses a different engine, so it doesn't suffer from the same sort of stutters that the PC version would when you get to the later minutes. But as you can see here, there's really no performance drop. Oops, did I skip that? No idea. But performance-wise, game runs great. I am seeing occasional little like hitch, and I'm pretty sure that's my PC indoors that's doing that. So I might have to have a look at my settings. Normally, what you find using Moonlight, and you will have seen this if you watched it in my other streams, that it pops up in the corner saying it's got a poor connection, and then you'll normally then see maybe either a little bit of screen corruption. You're like, where it's struggling to render the whole screen, or you might get a disconnect. Generally speaking, I've not really had many disconnects. In fact, talking about poor performance from earlier, I don't know about what games don't run well, but Amazon Luna, I've not been impressed with that. So if you're primarily going to use this with Amazon Luna, I don't know if it's a Luna issue or if it's just the way Absolute works with Luna through its browser, but it was really stuttery when I tested it. Now I've got one video up where I tested, it was on my Discord stream, and all I did was test this game. It was Micro Machines. So I tested it on Xbox, I tested it on streaming directly from my PC because I owned the game, and also from Luna, and Luna was by far and away the worst experience. It was so poor. I could just stand here and just ignore this thing and talk about the device somewhere. If I could just remember. This came back to me. The only thing that I would say, now the sticks fixed, have you noticed that hasn't drifted once? So that firmware fix has resolved whatever that issue was, because I would have seen it by now. Oh, let's move from this guy. The only thing I don't like, and it's in the packaging material of the new units when you get them, is they say not to use a USB-C to USB-C. Now, nearly all of my charging cables are USB to USB-C. In fact, nearly all of them have got the little display on them. In fact, here's one here, look. Oh, let's tip stuff off my table. So I use one of these, the little display in it. And if I plug it in here, it probably won't work. So it's plugged in just now, it just doesn't work. So I use this on most of the devices I have, just to monitor the power, how many watts I'm pulling. And it doesn't work on the Absolute. Strangely, I'm sure it did when I first got the Absolute, and it just kind of desensitized itself over time and stopped working. So Absolute themselves recommend that you use the original cable that they provide, and that's fair enough, USB-A to USB-C. And that's great, but I went on holiday, as I say last week, and I forgot to take that cable with me. So when we were on holiday, I said to my son, well, if this battery goes flat, you might be stuck. But I found a cable in my bag of tricks. Well, basically, I took one charger with me, one charger brick, the Charmast one, which has a padnet for wireless charging. I thought I'll probably get the most juice out of this in the week, and I did. Should have probably taken another one with me because I ran it flat a couple of times. But I found a charging cable in my bag that was I don't know if it was the one from Absolute, but it plugged in, it worked fine, so I used that, and that was a USB-A to USB-C. That seems to work best. So USB-C to USB-C, it just doesn't seem like that. So I don't know if that's down to the hardware or it's just a strange peculiarity. It's not the first time I've ever had to use a specific cable with a specific piece of hardware. But it's just in this modern era, you kind of expect to use the same cable for everything. So just be aware, you might get lucky with a USB-C to USB-C cable, but it might not work forever. So if it just suddenly stops working, don't panic. Go find your original cable, which is a bit short. I think it's 1.5 meters, but your original cable will work fine. And I'm not doing any bother with the original cable, so I can't really complain. Oh, here he comes. His Reaper destroyed me. Right. Let's quit. Don't need to revive. Done. Oh, a couple unlocks there too while I was at it. Well worth that game. Right, okay, I'll just go off cam with that again, and I'll go back to the main screen. We'll fire up Chrome. In fact, give me 1 second. Pardon me. That's what happens when you stream for... How long have we been streaming for? Oh, a little bit over an hour. Occasionally sneeze. Right, let's go into here. So I think I actually had the speed test app running already, so here's fast. So, like I say, I have router indoors, I have a mesh network plugged into that, and then that's creating a bubble out to here. So that's 74 megabits. I'll just click the show more info bit, but I will try and cover part of the screen because I don't want to show you all my IP address. So we'll just cover that there. And you can see we're getting 69 upload speed and 74 download speed. So that's pretty decent. In fact, sometimes I see a faster upload speed than download speed. But it is working pretty well. I'm not really sure if there's a specific you want me to test, I can do that. I'm sitting here in my shed, like I say, it's got a window right next to me, and there's this massive moth fluttering on the window right now. Random, I know, but there it is. Okay. What's the ping and latency stats? Does it show me that here? Oh yeah, it does. So let me just run this again. Pardon me, I've now got a bit of a sniffy nose. So that was about 10 milliseconds it said for unloaded and about 200-ish for loaded. I'm going to run it again, just see what it says. I'll confirm that. Yeah, so that was for download, upload, unloaded is 15 milliseconds, loaded is 267. Getting 85 megabits up now. In fact, it's up to 90. So, a couple hundred milliseconds. Now, like I say, so yeah, unloaded 10 to 15. That's twice I ran it. 10 the first time, 15 the second. Loaded is about 267. That was, and to be honest, I don't feel any latency. I know that's something that quite a few people have asked about. You know, what's the latency feel like? Maybe it's just my old latency built-in reaction times and eyes, but basically none from my perspective. So what we'll do is we'll resume this session, and I will do something else. Let's try a bit of Forza. We'll just play through a few different types of genres. So that's a dual MIMO setup, and I believe when you open it up, if you were to open up, I've not opened this up, opened up, but in the schematics I've seen, it's got the two antennas are very much in different ends of the unit itself, so it works really well, I have to say. I've been really impressed. If I tether this, for example, oh, it's downloading content. I've obviously not played Forza 5 for a while. If I tether to my mobile phone, it runs really well on that as well, I have to say. So I was expecting to use that when I was on holiday because the place that we were staying, we'd stayed there before, knew they had internet that was free for guests, but it was only about 8 meg internet. This was in the Scottish Highlands, so really not brilliant internet. But they've obviously had an upgrade and they're up to 50 megabit, so it was actually running really, really well. In fact, multiple people in the house were using it at the same time, and we really never saw any latency at all. It was great. So as I say, my son was playing David Diver, I was playing David Diver. I was playing offline so that we could both play the game at the same time because it was off my Steam account. My partner was watching some TV streamed to her, well, she was watching on her mobile phone. My daughter was on her iPad. We were all pulling down data at the same time, and it played faultlessly, I had to say. So let's go in here. Is this game not loading? Close on there, try run it again. What else can I say? One thing I haven't tested is the earphone jack on the bottom, and the reason I haven't tested that is because I don't have a set of earphones with a jack on them anywhere. Oh, that's the game actually running, isn't it? Oh, cancel. No. I can hear the sound. Come on. So that's not good. Click on there. That's one to watch out for. So map a button for alt and tabbing for when you've accidentally flicked yourself into a screen and can't get back out of it. If I click on game options, will I get through here? Ah, here we go. Now we'll get back to it. Okay, it's logged me in, so that's good news. Yeah, has logged me in. And it's connecting, so that's good news. I haven't actually played this game for a few weeks. David Diver's just taken over my life. So what I'll do is I'll do a bit of buzzing about in this. Might try and do one race, show how bad my reactions are, but how smooth the game is. And I think I'll run a high preset on this because it's a 6600 mobile chip. So I can pretty much cope with pretty high settings. When I play Spider-Man on this, I actually turn the ray tracing on. Believe it or not, the AMD chip with a little bit of FSR can actually cope at 60 FPS. And again, one of the settings I do set on this is I try and mostly keep the game set to 60 FPS. So 1080p, 60 FPS, wherever possible, because that's what the screen is. And that, then I can tweak settings up to the point where it's like, you know, the best graphics possible, where I was trying to keep a relatively solid 60 FPS. I always try and have the frame time graph up. Now, if anyone's interested in these little metrics you can put up here, if you're running it from your PC and you're going to be game streaming, I mean, if you use it, if you play your PC every day, you'll know what your performance is. It's not an issue. But if you're going to be setting a PC up for the first time, or you've got a PC that you've used before and not been happy with the results, use MSI Afterburner and Reaver Tuner, which comes bundled with MSI Afterburner, to configure and turn on these settings. There's loads of great videos online, so there's no point in me telling you how to do it. If you wanted to do battery metrics, which doesn't really apply to this, it would be more if you had a handheld PC rather than this one. I'm just going to see if I can mute my microphone for 1 second. Bear with me. Okay, thanks for bearing with me there. I was trying to resolve my runny nose, which nobody needed to know about, but hey, told you anyway. Okay, I'm not going to play this for very long because I see now that the stream's been an hour and a quarter long, and nobody's going to watch a stream that long. Although the average view duration is 8 minutes 21 seconds, which is like makes it one of my longest viewed videos. Now I do try to keep my videos relatively short, but I have a tendency to waffle. And when I edit them down, there's still quite a lot in there of waffle because it's difficult editing out just the waffle in between all the little nuggets that I include that are actually of value. I like to kid myself on that people like to just listen to my voice. I'm not sure why. Okay, now I don't know how smooth the video footage is, so that's one thing I usually say at the start of all my streams. Like I say, I'm out in my shed, really poor connection. Well, I say poor, it's actually not too bad. But I'm streaming my absolute from the PC in the house, and then I'm streaming usually from Discord, but today I'm using the YouTube app, and I'm streaming that. So, you know, if there's any dropped frames or anything, it's probably down to bandwidth issues. And as I was just saying, just occurred to me there, when I was running that speed test on here, we were also streaming at the same time on the same connection, 5 gigahertz. So that might have impacted a little bit on the results we'd see here. Obviously, the less devices you have connected to that network at the time, the better it's going to be. So this is good enough. And I've got my PC running, which I don't usually do. It's sitting here. It's sitting here, you know, monitoring the stream. That's how I'm seeing on the messages coming up. So I quite enjoyed doing this. So if you want me to do more live streams, I can do that. Can't make up as much stuff. I can't, well, I say make up, can't get basic scripted stuff ready. So normally I don't really script my videos. I have an idea of a start, a middle, and an end, and I just go with it. So sometimes the results, I have the results before I create the video, and I'm just kind of talking through them. Sometimes I'm going through the test while I was creating the video. So my reaction is as organic as it can get. But for streams like this, I had just a few ideas that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to mention the fact that I'd gamed pretty much exclusively on this for a week. Well, I had it, my son had. But his experience was brilliant. I can actually see a device like this being a really good Christmas gift. So if anyone's thinking about a good Christmas gift for their kids, if you've got a gaming PC in the house, or you've got a console in the house, and you want to get your kids out from behind or from in front of the TV, because you maybe want to use the TV, but you don't mind them being on the screen, maybe they've got some allocated time, then a little device like this could be really good for them. Not that I'm encouraging you to sit your kids in the corner with a screen. That's up to you. But if they did want something to play on, something like this would potentially be better for them than, say, a mini PC like the iNeo Air Plus. Just because, much better battery life on this. If you've got, like most people do have, usually big data packages these days, if you've got a big data package and you don't mind tethering it, and you're going to go someplace where there's a good signal, kids will probably enjoy this. Plus, it's not that expensive. So like I say, the little Air Plus, which, I got at the knockdown 50 units only price. If you were to buy this retail now, it would cost literally slightly more than double the price of this. And it's not twice as good. I mean, it is good. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But there's limitations. And I think if you're sitting a kid down with it, explaining the limitations of this is easier than explaining the limitations of a PC. Because it's just a PC. Why is it not working? This is just a streaming device. So you could say to your kids, right, well, if you behave, you get some time on a handheld. Especially if you're away on holiday. Maybe not if you're abroad and you don't have an internet connection. It could be a bit expensive then. But just for out and about. Plus, it's really good for emulation. Like I say, up to a point. So if you're playing Game Boy Advance games, for example, and there's some fantastic games out there. All the Pokemon games and stuff as well. I mean, I never really got into them, but my son was playing, like I say, Fire Red recently, and he said it was brilliant. I was watching him and thinking, well, it's actually quite a good little simple game that engages you enough without being too flashy, and it looked great on the screen. Also, this is really good for consuming other stuff like Netflix. So Netflix looks great in this. Now I can't remember the different Widevine versions, but this is the non-HD one that it plays in, which is a wee bit unfortunate, but great if you could get the full 1080p benefit. But so it only runs at SD, standard definition, but you wouldn't know it to look at it. So the screen's just so nice. So this isn't an OLED screen, just an LCD. Is that an LTPO display? Which I wasn't really sure what that was until I had to Google it. But the blacks head on are really good. If you hold it at an angle, you get a little bit of sheen. It's difficult to show because there's so much reflection because it's a glossy screen. But it is really nice to sit and watch. It really is. Right, okay, game's almost loaded. You've seen the frame rate drop quite a bit there. So it was about 500 FPS while it was loading and optimizer. It's a problem with not playing a game for a while. Hi, thanks for bearing with me, the 3 viewers that are still here. That's a hard sell, looking at a black screen and listening to me warble on. Any questions, or just feel free to fire them up. Oh, here we go, finally. So, as you can see, I'm getting, what's that, 110 FPS roughly. So that's my mini PC in the house. Look how good that looks. So I'm pretty sure I'm running just the standard optimizations. It's probably high settings. Yawn, yawn. So I've got to do a wee race to take it. Okay, let's try it then. I'll take the volume up a little bit. Oh my god, I've only just started and I'm off the track. There's a little bit of latency there, and I think that might be my internet connection. There's a little stutter, a little hitch. But again, that feels like it's my PC. I'm trying to look at my frame time graph on the bottom of the screen here, but it's somewhat obscured by the current time here. There was another one there. One of the things I hate about Forza Horizon 5 and also love, I love the fact that there's so many updates, but my god, what am I doing here? But I don't like the fact that every time you release an update, you end up having to go in and tweak your optimizations and change settings. So I posted a video some time ago with settings for Forza Horizon 5 on the Steam Deck, and it was very well received. There's lots and lots and lots of views. And then I had some people getting back to me saying, oh well, what the problem now is they're not getting those settings. And then I looked at the game, and sure enough, because of the updates that came out, the game wasn't performing as well as it had when I reviewed it. So, like I say, I haven't played this game for a few weeks. And I don't even know what this race is all about. Because I was... Oh, game second. There we go. Good enough. Yeah, I'm seeing... Every now and then I'm seeing a little hitch on the frame time graph. So those hitches were on my PC, so I'll have to look at that. See, there's a little jaggy bit there. Oh, summer party. Well, that just goes to show it's been weeks since I played this game. Yeah, see, look, here you go. Even the loading screens are going quite slow. I bet this game, after a little bit of playing, it'll settle down after a little while. Just because it's just updated itself. But even though, me personally, I've seen the occasional little hitch there. Maybe it showed up in the channel video, I'm not sure. Graphically, it looked really good. There was a little bit of the track was a little bit smeary at the start, where I felt it was maybe not rendering at the full 1080p. But this is a fast-paced game, so you kind of expect that a little bit. Things like Vampire Survivors are a little bit slower paced. Really depends on the games that you're into playing, I suppose. Generally speaking, though, Spider-Man, for example, streaming it from a PS4, and I'm running at 1080p rather than the stock 720p, it just looks lovely. Although I play it on PC because I'm ray tracing on. Okay, so what we're at now? We're at... Oh, I've been live for almost an hour and a half. So I think I'll take the opportunity to sign off now. Thanks to the people that have stayed on to the very end. Really very much appreciate it. Again, if you've already subscribed, brilliant, thank you. And if you've not, please subscribe. Really helps me out. Even if you subscribe and don't click the bell icon for more videos, that's up to you. Now, I generally post videos that are handheld based. I do occasional shorts, which may have a slight slant off of handheld gaming. Like, for example, when I was decorating the walls in this place, and that took me days. Still not finished, but it's just a shed, and I've tried to turn it into like a little studio and an office workspace for during the day. So, you know, feel free to support the channel if you can. If you can't, hey, hope you enjoyed this video. Really, if you've watched even a few minutes of this and you've got something out of it, that's great. It makes me feel good. If you've not already joined the Discord channel for Absolute, I think you should. I post over there as Handheld Gaming. So come over and say hello. If you want access to my private Discord, feel free to do a channel membership. You can pick the cheapest one, really doesn't matter. One thing I didn't say about the channel membership is I'm not really sure how popular this subscription model is for YouTube, you know, getting members, subscribers, paid subscribers. But if you pay for even 1 month, I will give you access to the Discord channel. I will not remove people from the Discord channel. It's currently unmoderated. So I'd like it, if it stayed that way, I'd like it to stay quite open. I don't want to have to get, you know, start setting up bots and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to join the Discord channel, pay for 1 month. You can pay 99p. So that's like, what, $1.20, something like that. I'll get 70% of that, and YouTube will take their little cut, which is fine. That'll give you access to the channel, the Discord channel. I won't remove you unless you become a troublemaker, which, you know, that's, to be fair, what you should expect. Pay for 1 month, then cancel. I'll leave you in the Discord channel. I won't be removing people from that. I want to see that channel grow. And we'll see where we go with it. Something new that I'm trying out. Maybe it'll succeed, maybe it won't, but I don't mind trying.
Welcome back, Sasquatch.
Let's just get in the street somewhere. Oh, we'll drive that for a change. Get in car. I don't think there's much more for me to say tonight. Getting a little bit tired. I don't know about the stream time. So I know a lot of my subscribers are based in the USA. This stream time might be okay for you. 7 hours difference, probably not, because it's more like end of day. So sorry about that. This really is the only time I can fit these streams in. My son was saying, why don't you do streams during the day? Because that would suit your US audience. I'm like, I've got work, son. So let me know what you'd prefer to see. I know not many people watch the YouTube Shorts, but it just seems like a necessary evil just to get, advertisement out there of the channel. I'll try and do silly shorts now and then. Mostly long form videos. If I'm trying to convey information on a game, like best settings for a certain platform, I try and keep the videos short. They still often stretch to 10 minutes, but you'll normally find most of the meat of the information from the video is right at the start, and then just lots of waffle. If you want to support the channel, watch the start of the video, get what you need, and then just let the video play in the background, and then it gets the average view duration goes up, and that's good for the channel, helps with the metrics and what have you. But if you've got what you needed from the video at the start and that's all you want, that's fine. If I've helped you out, that's brilliant. If you feel you want to help me out, one, either consider a channel membership, or two, just let the video play out. Turn the volume down, ignore it. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now. And bye for now. I'm actually going to sit here for a couple of minutes and see if you'll disappear. And if you do, then I'm going to end the session. If anyone's got any questions in the next couple of minutes while I'm tidying up, just pop them up in the chat and I'll get back to you. But I'm not going to extend this session much longer. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to end session now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye for now.